The reason why your opponent doesn't feel pressure is because you don't use this defense mechanic. We know FIFA 23 is on the door and you guys are fed up with FIFA 22, and that's why we no longer uploading more videos as we used to, but what we give you will still apply to FIFA 23, so let's look at this defense mechanic and how you can use them effectively. If you want to apply more pressure on your opponent, you have to know how to always use the second man press, but it can be useless even if you spam it, if you cannot switch your players constantly. First, let's quickly look at the player switching. Learning player switching, you need to go step by step, and first is the quick switch, which switches to the nearest defender around the area of the ball, and we do it by just tapping the L1, and the game automatically selects the nearest player. So after learning this, you have to start switching according to the team shape, which means that every area zone the ball is in, you have to always tap L1 and select the players within that zone. This helps a lot to maintain your team shape. So instead of sticking to one defender and drag him all over to other side, just switch to the nearest one. And sometimes your opponent might dribble near your AI player, in this case just tap L1, and the game will switch direct to him, and this triggers automatic tackling. After, you have to start switching quickly. If you switch slow, the game tends to sometimes select the wrong players. Switching quick enough, you have to anticipate the opponent's pass. By the time he passes, then you have to be already switched to your defender. Don't wait until he controls the ball, unless you're repositioning your defender back to his position, so you have to always follow the passing speed and react accordingly. Lastly, on switching is the use of the right stick switching. We use this to switch to the furthest defender. You can't switch to this defender by tapping the L1, of course the game will give you one of these nearest defenders, and right stick switching, we know how it works. The player with the cursor is always the center if you're using the player relative settings, and of which I recommend. If you want to explore more about the right stick switching, just wait until the end of the video and click the video which will pop on the left, or check it in the description. So now you can switch your players. Second man press is the defense mechanic where you trigger your AI teammate to start pressing the opponent by holding the R1, and you will notice a green icon on that player. We can use it to cut the passing lanes, at the same time pressing the ball holder. When you right stick switch to the furthest defender to cut that passing lane, use the second man press to pressure your opponent. In this case, he doesn't have that much time to keep waiting for the perfect lane to open up, and always switch back. The second man press is overpowered, but it don't usually tackle the ball, maybe if the opponent dribbles into its position, so always make sure you switch back and do it by yourself. The good thing is that the second man press tends to position the player in the passing lane position, and the player ends up intercepting the ball. And in any case, if your opponent is dribbling near your defender you're not controlling, just trigger the second man press and this player will always challenge the ball from the opponent. Then we have the double pressing, that situation when you have two defenders, in front and behind, or left and right, just hold the R1, and your job is to press the opponent. Alternate switching will confuse him because he is receiving pressure from both direction. The bonus tip I have for you is something not recommended, but I use it a lot and it works, holding the second man press button most of the time around the pitch. This keeps your mind fully focused on jockeying and positioning your defenders. If you always release the second man press and again hold it, this makes you to overthink and you only focus on it, so you tend to position your defenders poorly, because you're overstressing your brain, so just hold the second man press most of the times. If you're looking to improve your right stick switching in general, make sure you click video on the left. And you wish to improve your jockey technique as a beginner, click the video on the right. So for now guys, let me end here.